Welcome to the Hawkeye trading session, and this is Al and Eva, and we're here to help trying to keep an eye on the messages and the questions and answers. If there's only a couple people in here, I'm going to mute your mics, and you can be free to talk and ask questions rather than just try and type things in the chat, but we'll see how things go here. Having said that, trading foreign exchange on margin carries a high level of risk and may not be suitable for all investors. The high degree of leverage can work against you as well as for you. Before deciding to invest in foreign exchange, you should be careful to consider your investment objectives, level of experience, and risk appetite. The possibility exists that you could sustain a loss of some or all of your initial investment, and therefore you should not invest money that you cannot afford to lose. You should be aware of all the risks associated with the foreign exchange trading and seek advice from an independent financial advisor if you have any doubts. This is a live trade room, and it is for educational purposes only. No financial advice or recommendations will be provided. Any trade taken during this live session is not a recommendation or suggestion that you should do the same. Past performance is not indicative of future results, and do not trade money you cannot afford to lose. Before trading live, always operate with a written trade plan that identifies rules for entry, exit targets, and risk management. So, having said that, and I forgot to turn the I keep on forgetting to turn the recording on. Crap. Here we go. Resume recording. Okay, we did just go through all the disclaimers. The disclaimers are here. And if I can read them again, I don't want to go through that all over again. But anyway, we do have the disclaimers, and let's go to the charts. We had an alert this morning on the U.S. yen, and it was at we had one at 515 for a descending wedge, and again at 715, which made for an interesting situation. And we'll go through some of that. News announcements. For the news, we have this is Friday, August 14th. And there's a couple of red folders at 8:30 this morning for retail sales and retail sales for the U.S. So we're going to be careful about watching for any U.S. pairs, which almost all these alerts that we get are for the U.S. pairs. So we'll be a little bit concerned. We'll watch that pretty closely around 8:30. Other than that, it looks pretty quiet for the rest of the day. And I am in this U.S. yen trade, and you'll see we had two lines where we had this was the alert at 5:15 this morning. This was the alert at 7:15. And right now it's I drew the wedge, and right now it's sort of popped out the bottom. I'll go through more detail as we watch and monitor this, how we drew this wedge. And it's sometimes a little bit tougher to draw, but it is, you have to work with what we get. And so right now it broke out the bottom, didn't get our 7 pips yet. Only got up to about 2 or 3 pips. Now it's back in the wedge, and I may cut this one a little short. Right now, if it breaks to the top of this trend line, this inner trend line, then I'll probably get out of this trade. Right now, I am short in it, and we'll see what we do. But the major wedge that we have is I started. If you look at the chart, we will. I'll show you on the 15-minute chart. This had a really steep, from the close of yesterday's close to this over the overnight, it had a nice, very steep drop and descent. What I do is I drew a box around yesterday's pivot low and yesterday's pivot high, and looking at that as being the range that we're operating in. So if this thing breaks down, at best I'm looking at the very least I'm looking at a bounce right around the 106.60 area. And that's because of this area right here. This is where the low of yesterday's low was, came up, came down, tested this area, and then it took off like a rock and then just trailed ever since. Came up to the top, and then it has a straight shot down all the way down to this level right in here. So I'm going to actually mark this a little bit more. Mark this right in here and make this into a demand zone. But that's the area that we're operating on. If it breaks the top, this thing could go all the way back up and retest the high, but it's probably going to follow along this trend line at the very least. Right now I'm looking at still following. You can see where it broke and it followed this yellow trend line. Pretty much had one little wick up here, but it followed the trend line all the way down. That's why I'm not so convinced this thing's not going to start reversing. We're way down here at the bottom of where yesterday's pivot was. But we'll see what happens. And then we had the secondary trend, and actually it just followed pretty much the same triangle or wedge that I drew earlier. So we'll see. I still like to see it come down and retest this bottom before it breaks to the upside. And so like right now I am still short in this thing. The Japanese yen is the stronger of the pairs on the 15-minute chart. It's strong by 4. We did have the break. It came back. Right now it's up in the wedge, retesting the wedge. Go to my 1-minute chart. You'll see here was where the break was, came down. But it's just, if it breaks to the top, we have a strong fib line right here. It came down. It broke through this secondary fib line, which is this red one. Broke through it, came up, broke through it, testing it, and now it's coming back to, looks like it's trying to retest the blue line up here. And so that's where we are right now on the US yen. Any questions? Like I said, this one was the fact that it was such a steep drop overnight. And this is just where you're going to start seeing where it's going to drop, pull back, come back, retest, and then probably take off to the upside. It's I'm kind of looking to look for a little bit of a divergence on this, possibly where we'll get a lower low with a higher RSI. And speaking of the RSIs, I need to get a different chart up here. The indicators that we use here during the daytime. And see, it came up, it challenged this. Here's the RSI, here's the 3-period RSI. The 8 is still inside the 60-40 range, and now they've both hooked back, coming back. So right now we're still okay with this thing still going short. And this was a little bit of a flag pattern of its own. Yes, yeah, Eva.
Oh, I was just going to say now, my wedge, I drew it a little bit differently. So it just goes to show that, you know, you can draw it in different ways. It depends on your viewpoint, you know.
Would you like to show yours?
Sure.
Okay, I'll stop sharing and you can show your wedge and we'll see how they compare.
Okay.
Okay, I'm gonna stop sharing and make sure I give you control to share.
Okay.
Let's see if I can do that. You should be able to get it.
Disabled. Okay, it says host disabled attendee screen sharing.
Okay, how do I do?
Yeah.
Let's see, figure out how to do this. Base commands, that's not right. You can't share your screen, huh?
No, it won't let me.
Let me see. This might be another one of those things we have to work on. Oh, here we go.
Okay.
This is it.
Oh, you got it?
No, not yet.
Oh.
I thought we knew how to do this.
Yeah, I'm not.
Yeah, usually there's like a little window that pops up and says, let me see one more time here. Change roles to forbid. I want to remove you. We may not be able to do that. We may have to work on that some other time.
Yeah. Okay. No worries. Mine's just a little bit steeper than what yours was.
And let's go back to see if I can get my charts up again. And you see my charts?
Yes.
Okay. We'll have to work on that one. Again, this is another one of those little challenges of technology.
Yeah.
Right now, I'm only seeing 6 people in the room. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to allow the attendees to open their mics if I can. I'm allowed to talk. I'm just going to let everybody talk here this morning. See if anybody has anything they want to try and ask, or just turn on your mic and ask away. We'll see if how this works today. So right now, we said came back up. I did retest the wedge area. I said I'm looking at the secondary trend line. This is the main trend line, this heavier yellow one. And then this is the secondary one. That's one reason why I like using this triangle tool, because I can oftentimes draw a secondary trend line. The trend line inside of a trend, and see if it is long. And right now, we can see where we had the anchor with the C. This is where I drew the original C. I made this a little bit shorter when I drew for the first wedge. And I just used this slope kind of helped correlate with the 5-minute 62. I brought the B down at the bottom. This is where the alert was. I took the B to the very lowest, and I just drew the D right straight across, keeping this slope. And then I took the D, and I sort of followed it along to try and find a trend line where it was flat on the bottom, but I just tucked it in close to where I could get the hits from the C. Here's my middle hit, another hit, another hit. And so this way, that validates this trend line and also validates this one. This one only had 2 hits. The anchor, here's the first hit, which was before the wedge. It dropped off, came back up, retested the secondary wedge. But right now, this thing is still going to be a short until it breaks this one, and then it's going to be in no man's land until it breaks the top one. Because you still have the 62 coming in right in there.
Actually, Al, in the Q&A, before you let everybody speak, Alan had put something in. He's talking about, he's learning to draw wedges, and he's manually putting all Airis alerts into a spreadsheet and then going back in time to draw the wedges. So he's asking to make sure that he's getting it done properly. Is there somewhere that he can send his screenshots of his drawn wedges for review?
Yes, there is. In fact, I think he puts it on the Telegram. Is he on the Telegram channel?
It's on the Q&A. Yeah, like right in our.
Yeah, if he's hooked up to the Telegram channel, he can message me directly, or just put it in the Telegram, and then we can answer it via that way. We have a couple people doing that, so I'd be more than happy to look those over. Let's just see here, looking at my Telegram. Should be in the official Hawkeye strategy site. You should be able to do that, or you could. You should be able to text me, send me a Telegram directly.
Yeah, Alan, it's not the Pipology Telegram channel. It's
It'd be the Hawkeye official Hawkeye strategy, which should, I think that one you should be able to get that one, unless we have to. That one may be locked to everybody. We should be able to just send, if you can just send a Telegram channel. I'm not sure exactly how to do that.
yeah, the Hawkeye doesn't allow posting, like the.
Okay.
So he has to send it somewhere else. Like I don't know.
Yeah, let me just see here. Let me see if I can figure out how to do this here. I'll tell you what, Alan. I believe I sent you my email, didn't I not, Alan?
You
I
can
think
unmute yourself, Alan, and talk to Al directly.
yeah. Why don't you, if you turn on your mic, if you can.
Yes, I did get your email, and good morning.
Yeah, good morning,
Morning.
Alan. Yeah, just go and just send it to, just take a screenshot of your, and send it to my email, and then we'll figure out how to get you so you can just do it on the Telegram. But yeah, you can just email me a picture of it, of your screenshot, and then I can comment on it that way until we get you up on the Telegram channel.
Thank you very much.
Okay?
Thank you.
Yeah, because we have a couple people that are doing that, and I said I've got to figure out how to tell people to. Now, you are on the Telegram, correct?
Yes, I am on the Hawkeye Telegram, where it
Okay.
says the official Hawkeye, but it doesn't let me post anything.
Right. Do you see my name? Let's see. I'm not sure how. What? Let me see. I'll tell you. Email me, and I'll see if I can email you the instruction how to get me on Telegram. How's that?
Okay, terrific. Will do.
Yeah, yeah, and then we'll work on that. I need to learn how to do that myself anyway. So yeah, we'll work on that.
Here, I thought you were the guru and oracle of all things.
Well, no, that's a misnomer. That is the Brian keeps saying that, but I don't think that that's really exactly true in more ways than one. So, okay. Yeah, I'd be happy to take a look at it. I mean, we have a couple people that do that, and just take a screenshot. Show me where your wedge are. Try and put the dotted line where the alert was, and then I can see. That way, I can take a look and see, and do it on a 15-minute chart would be helpful.
Okay.
15-minute, or if you have all three well, if you can do all three screenshots, that would be good. That way I can see how you kind of tweaked it. But 15-minute, at least a 15, because that's where the alerts are, and that's pretty much where my starting point is when I draw these things.
Yeah, I have TradingView subscription, so I can do just about everything.
Yeah, you should be able to just. Oh, good. Yeah, you should be able to just take there's a little camera up here. Just take the screenshot, and then it creates a URL file, and then just send that file to me, and I should have the screenshot.
Perfect. Okay.
Okay. All right. Yeah, I'm happy to do that.
Thank you.
You're welcome. So let's see who else we have. What else do we have here? Let me see who all we have in here today. Is there anybody else? I've got everybody's mics unmuted, so all you have to do is click on and just give us a talk. And there's not that many people in here this morning. Fridays get to be kind of slow, I believe, and a lot of people are taking off for the day, which I can't say I blame them. And so yeah, we'll just open your mics if you have a question, or you can type in the chat. Either way, it's if you don't like using your mics. But really, right now, this thing it's just been it's been trading in a really narrow zone here from about, let's see, we're looking at, it's only been trading in a 5-pip zone for about the last hour or more. We had this nice big move down right when we got the alert. We had the alert, and then within that 5-minute candle, it dropped down to from 60, say it's called 69 to, again, it's only about 5 pips. And this, even though this candle looks pretty big, it's really not that big. It's a 5-pip candle, and you're looking at 5-pip moves within the last. Like I said, it hasn't broken out of that zone in the last hour. And I think what's happening is we've got an announcement at 8:30. So if you are in this trade, you may want to keep a real close eye on it and keep your finger on the trigger, because if there's an announcement at 8:30, which is in another 12 minutes, you could see it could really go to your favor. It could take your stop out. So I keep it pretty close. I don't know how big that announcement is going to be, but it is red folder announcements. I'm not sure exactly how much that's going to affect us, but with the yen, but we'll just have to play that by ear. But right now, the dollar is still showing a lot of weakness on the 15-minute chart. And if you look at the overall correlation of the currencies, This is basically the RCS tool on all 8 pairs that we're looking at. And right now you're showing, this is the 4-hour chart. The British pound is the strongest on 3 of the 4. This is a 5-minute chart. So that's from a higher time frame standpoint, that doesn't count much. But this is a 4-hour, this is the 30-minute, and this chart over here is the 15. But you see the British pound is the strongest, and the dollar is number one, and number 3. So it's kind of in the middle of the road on the 4-hour. When it comes to the 30-minute and the 15-minute, it's the weakest of the pair. So from a higher standpoint, I would almost expect this dollar to get stronger after the announcement. That's just a guess. And so if it does get stronger after the announcement, then that would make this pair rocket on up. The fact it's been basing here for so long, I think I may just bail on this thing for the next within the next few minutes and just see what happens here. But I'm just gonna, right now I'm not doing anything. I'm just sitting on my hands and we're just watching this. Meantime, we still going. We had an alert at 8:15. That's the gold, and we can take a look at that after another few minutes if nothing else pops up. But I don't trade gold on this. Gold's taken quite a little bit of a hit in the last couple of days, but it's made new highs earlier last week. It's still right around 1949. So. I do like the fact we have this nice long candle, and this is actually forming a little bit of a flag. If you look at this inside from this is in the 5-minute chart. Let me just blow this up. I said, this is our zone that I'm looking for it to come down into. This is the demand zone, and here's the bottom of yesterday's low. So if it comes down, you could get a nice little whipsaw down here and then just have it take off, or it could just take off from here. But right now, you've got a little bit of a flagpole. This is a flag pattern. Here's your flagpole, comes down, and then we have another wedge right in this area right here. Let me take this over about like this. So this is basically the wedge that it's been trading in for the last. Here's the anchor. Here's a hit. Here's the third hit of the trend line, and here's our anchor. Here's our hit, and we're still waiting for it to come up and retest the top of this. But you see where we have this trend line coming down. And then we have a couple coming up. So we just have to. You see how it's just forming its own little wedge pattern right inside. We have a wedge inside of a wedge inside of a wedge.
How big was this breakout to the bottom, Al?
The breakout 4 pips. It hasn't gotten past 4 pips.
Oh, okay.
So here's the bottom, and here is the 5. Well, barely got 5 pips if you got right off the wedge. But if you had your spread, you only got your own. The most I saw this thing came up was about 2.5 pips. It's from my entry.
Yeah.
And the spread's not bad. It's a 1.2 pip spread, 1.3 now. I'm going to keep an eye on that. That makes a big difference. So, I'm going to move this over. Take this one here. Kind of keep this right in this area. I'm not going to tweak this too much on the 5-minute because this is still basically so as long as it can stay within this. Now, if it keeps on trailing up here, that's going to make things a little bit more difficult. Now, the fact right now I'm looking at it, it's breaking the yellow 62. So if it breaks the top of this, we may want to be bailing. We've got 6 minutes before the announcement. And right now, I'm just barely break even on this thing right now. I do like the support that we're getting on this trend line here. Let me redraw this. So we had this anchor. Here's a nice little bit of a hit. It's a little bit, if you look to see where that B is, you can see this red candle came out, couldn't quite break that. And that's, I don't like the fact that I would like to have seen it break it, but this thing could be beginning of a trend to the upside. The other thing what it can also, what you'll see it do is before these announcements, you'll see it, in fact, it's been going so slow. It's been, and it's at the bottom of a major move from last night. I would not be surprised to, I can't predict which way it's going to go. I can't do it.
I have a question for you, Al.
Yes.
It's just about your symbol showing your spread on your top left-hand corner. How are you getting the spread to show up that way? Mine, for some reason, doesn't do that. It doesn't show like 1.3, 1.1.
It shows like this.
No, it's side by side, but it shows like 0.2 and 0.3 kind of thing. So I don't.
So showing the spread as being a point something.
Yeah, it's not showing like 1.4 what it's showing right now. Mine currently is showing 1.2 for the same pair. It's kind of weird.
Are you on a Wanda? Are you using a Wanda feed?
No.
That would be the difference.
Is that what it is?
Yeah, all my symbols are. I have all my symbols set to a feed on a Wanda. I can see Forex a Wanda. So when you add a symbol, let's say you go with the USD JPY, and you'll see where there's several different. Well, no, that's not it either. It comes up with a broker list.
Yeah. Yes, I've seen that.
Yeah, and so mine are just set to Wanda.
Okay, so
there's like FXCM, and the spreads will be a little bit different. I just my demo accounts with Wanda. I don't have a live account with them, but it does allow me to trade and show trades on the demo while I'm doing these little demonstrations here.
Okay, great. I'm going to try that.
That would probably get it. That should get it back. And what I found out too is like right now here, this is just showing. It's not showing the spread in between.
Right.
And I think what it is the chart that I'm viewing. Who's last? I think is like there. I have the spread in the middle. If I go back, it's still there. If I go, and I think if I go to this one, it's going to show me the spread in the middle.
Oh, I see. Okay.
And then if I go back, it's still showing it there. It shows the spread in the middle on one of the three charts. I'm not sure what makes it do it one versus the other, but I just discovered that yesterday because I was kind of wanting to see the spreads, and I noticed that it did have it on one of the charts. And I thought, well, how do I do that? And I thought there might be a setting in there someplace, but I'm not sure where it is.
Okay, I'm gonna try the Wanda thing.
And we're about 2 minutes away from the announcement. All right, now everything's looking in my favor here.
Look at that, that just popped out.
Yeah, but still, that could be a head fake too, so just be aware of that. It's still showing some weakness. The Japanese yen is still showing stronger than the dollar, but not by a whole lot. It's sort of like battling for last place here a little bit.
Yeah.
And we have in about another just couple seconds. New candle. That may have been a little bit of a head fake there. We'll see if this stays within my range or if it's going to make me unhappy. Right now it's still respecting, right now it's absorbing the news and seeing what they're going to do with it. I'm out.
Oh, wow. No, it just went the other way.
Yeah, that's what it does. It just gives you gets you thinking it's going to go short, and then it just pops up. Now it's breaching this this other little wedge we have here. Remember, you have this 62 up here at the top.
Can I ask an entry question? If
Sure.
Why didn't you use for the news that was about to happen a buy limit order to catch that jump up with the wick?
Well, for one, I was already in the trade short. That was the main. That was the main reason why. Plus, I usually like to see it. I didn't have a target zone particularly that I looked for to, because if the buy order would have been up above, probably above this one as opposed to this one. This was more of my stop area if it got up to this area as a stop. And with the news announcements, a lot of times you'll get these really strong moves, and all it does is wiki in, wiki out, and I'd rather just wait for it to settle out before. You can see even like when the first came out, it came down and said, oh, this thing's going to go short. Then it just rocketed up. What it did was it got everybody going short, came back up, took everybody's stops out, and now it's probably going to go back short again. I've seen on like the non-farm payroll reports, I've seen like the Euro US dollar, I've seen it move 100 pips in 5 seconds. And what it does is unless you have an order already in, if you try and do a market order on some of those really fast moves, I've seen it take as long as 20, 30 seconds for the order to be filled, or sometimes even a couple of minutes before the order gets filled. You feel like your computer just locked up, but really what's happened is there's so many orders that you're just, as soon as you trigger the buy limit, it goes to a market order. But if there's 10,000 other orders at that same level, you're just number 10,000 in the queue.
Yeah, it also may happen with your broker. I used to have that with TD Ameritrade when they first 15 minutes of the market. If you want to do any trading, you're going to get thrown in a queue, and their systems don't execute market order on level 2. You're just going to wait about anywhere from 90 seconds to about a minute and a half before something shows up.
Exactly. So that's why I just try to stay out of, unless what I have done in the past, but I don't normally do it, is I'll see where an extreme demand zone is or where an extreme supply zone is. I might be 50, 75 pips away from where the price is at the time, and I've seen it where it just comes right down, right into that zone, fills, and then takes a bit back out. I've had that happen a few times, but it's a pretty, it keeps you well off harm's way, but usually when you'll see it, it'll just drop right down into a major zone And I'm not seeing any major zones here right now. Right now, it's just still trading. You can see how this thing is just wicking right inside this little triangle that we drew here. And it's just, I mean, it hasn't closed above or below any of that, but it's wicked it out. So right now, it's just sort of extended the range of this thing. And this was a free drawn triangle. But now this area right up here, this candle right here is a key area that I'm looking at on this 5-minute chart here. And you see it just came right up to the top of this red candle, and it came right down to the bottom of the blue candle. And then right now it's just trading inside this zone. And until it breaks out of that range, we really don't know which way it's going to go. And I wasn't going to hang around to find out. So I took a small loss on that one, but pretty much the spread is what I did. But right now, the main triangle, the main wedge, which is this, where the B is, BA all the way across, that's the main wedge. Now, if we can get a break below here, like with our normal wedge entries, if we can get a break below here, it still may be going short. Now, I have a question. Can you still, as I just paused my screen, can you still see the price action, or is it just stopped?
It looks like it's just stopped.
You're not seeing it tick. You're not seeing it tick away at all, even a little bit.
No, there's nothing moving.
So it just stopped. Okay, I was wondering about that.
See, the world stops for you.
That's it.
Only when I pause. Yeah.
There we go.
Forget.
Now it's back at
But
it.
now you see it ticking. Right?
Yeah, yeah,
And now you don't.
that's right. Now
Okay.
it's just stopped.
Okay.
Well, no, I mean,
Al, can you pause the market like this in real life too, so we can jump in and take trades? And then
Yeah, I'm working on that. We should have that answer in another couple years. I think maybe we'll have that. Yeah. Wouldn't that be nice? We could just stop and then figure it out. And I could look ahead and say, okay, now we can resume and know which way to go with it. Wouldn't that be sweet?
Yeah, indeed, indeed.
Yeah, so right now, actually, I kind of like this area, like up here and this. I'm going to I said this was not a wedge alert, so I can do whatever I want to do with the price action. I kind of like this one. I like this one's still valid. Have a little hit. It's trying to break out the bottom here. Move that D out of the way.
there was an alert on gold at 8:15.
Yeah, we may take a look at that after we get done playing with this thing. See, but see now right now we have if we do get a break, we're looking at, let's see, this is at 63, call it 64, down here at 60. You're looking from here to here, 3 pips. That's not enough to take the trade because this is the bottom of yesterday's move. Now, if it breaks this, all bets are off of where it's going to stop. It doesn't have a lot of difference between the yen and the U.S. dollar. Dollar is still showing the weakest here. Let's see what it looks like after the announcement. Dollar is number 1.00. Right now, the dollar is the weakest of all the weakest on these 3 time frames: the 5, the 15, and the 30. It's the weakest of all the currencies, and the yen is right about in the middle. So we're not, if we were trading, like if we get an alert, say like for the US, Euro US, we would be trading that in the direction of the euro. Maybe it'll be nice enough to give us something like that. This is not the best time of day to be trading the yen because the Asian market is just closing down for the weekend. Right now it's 8:30 at night over in Asia. It still would have stayed within my stop range when I got in right here at the 67, 106.67. My stop was up here at 106.74, which is about 7-8 pips. And here was the target. This is as low as it got. It looks like it may go and break down. Here was my target, my 7 pip target right down here. But you know, when it breaks a wedge and it only goes down 5 pips and starts really struggling, a lot of times what that just tells me is that it's trying to pose to break out to the top. And you're almost better off just grabbing your few pips and wait and see if it breaks up and starts closing inside the wedge and looks to pop out the other end of it. Because usually if it pops out the other end, it's usually, oftentimes it's a very strong move to the opposite direction of what you originally got in. And those can be some nice moves. And the one thing on this particular pair, if you look at the 15-minute chart, you'll see that, let me take all this stuff off of here. Let's unsync all that. You see that the moving averages are still in the right direction. Here's your 62, here's your 13, here's your 5. But right here is this area that we're looking at where this was yesterday's low. And once it got down there, it went up, and the range from yesterday's low there was only a 32 pip range all day yesterday. It's not a big mover, and that's in the scheme of things. Put this anchor there. Again, if it breaks this trend line, I do like the fact that, to go short, I do like the fact it's still staying below the yellow 62. But you also remember it started it all the way up the top once you got the cross of the 62 and the 13, which is a significant crossover. And then you had the one little breach, and then it pretty much stayed below that 13 moving average all the way down to current. And that's one reason why sometimes once you get into the trade, if everything's in alignment with the 15 or 5 or the 5 period or the 15 period chart, you're better off staying off that 1 minute, because all it's going to do is start playing with your head. The chart up here. If you're from the crossover of the 1362 up here, just right about there, all the way down to where the current price is now. That's 30 pips. But that was from starting with midnight last night. This is 9 hours. It took 9 hours for it to go 30 pips. It looks like it's would have hit the target here. There's the target right there. That's the target, and we have a fib line over here. That fib line right here is the red fib line. Let's see if it come down and touch that. But no, it's in that demand zone that I was telling you about. At the bottom of this is yesterday's low. And I still wouldn't have been filled, even with a 7 pip target, I still wouldn't have been filled because it has to go past that in order to get that target. It has to go past it by 1.3 pips. 1.4 would probably do it.
Just got an alert.
We just got an alert.
Yeah.
Let's take a look and see what that one is. This one is a, refresh here another second.
Oh, it's a US.
Oh, it's our favorite. It's our favorite pair. That's our favorite one. US CAD. Let's pull the US CAD up. And let me see if I can find my chart for this one. Let's see. Let's try this. See if this works. There we go. And US CAD right there. So we're going to go with the, start with the clean chart. I know where our prices are. There they are. Take the moving averages off for now. And let's see here, we have this, and this was at 8:45. I'm going to assume that where that alert was, 8:45, descending US CAD. This over here where I can see what I'm doing. Descending, so we're good. I'm looking at, here's the daily close for yesterday's close. Here's all the overnight up until now. Here's a pivot high, here's a pivot low. If it's, I like seeing significant highs and lows before I start working my way back. So here's my triangle. So it's descending, so I'm gonna start up at the top at the pivot high. I'm gonna come down to the pivot low. I'm gonna tuck the D in as close to the wedge with the, where I can get, and then I'm going to tuck this one in down below. So I'm going to slide this back over where it belongs. So this is where I would start my wedge. And I'm going to look and see a couple of things. I'm going to see where my moving averages are. I see all three moving averages are inside the wedge, which I like that. We can see that the range is that here's the 62 down below, and the green and the yellow are out of sequence, which means that we're starting to get across of the fast one, which is the 5, the green, is starting to, and it's coming down to challenge where the 62 is, where the price is challenging the 62. So that's pretty much where I'm going to start drawing the wedge. And I'm not just looking, so this is going to be my target range down here. Here's where we're going to draw the box from here to here. Make this my range box. I'm going to fix this right now. Make this white. Take the background off. And I'm going to template save it as range box. I'm going to save it. Ask me to change it. Yes. And okay. So here's our range. So right now, if you're looking, you're seeing that right now it's about, see if are any fib lines in play. We have this one down below. Let's go over to our 5-minute chart. Let's see if we just catch us on the 1 minute. Save ourselves some time here. expand it out. Slide my D over here. Slide my C over. Nice little range going here. Right now on our 1 minute, all of our moving averages are all kind of, they're in the right order, but this one's starting to cross. I like this. This is a drop. This is a little bit of a base here and a drop. Now I would expect it to come up and retest this area up in here. So I'm going to make a note of that. We look and see where our RCS tool is. And right now the Canadian dollar is barely stronger than the US. Nothing to hang your hat on with that. That's pretty much all the way across. Let's look at our 5 minute chart. And what I'm looking at here is we had this where the C is. You can see where the blue RCS tools are up here at the 89%. Came up hooked, didn't go back very far. On this one right here, it came up, it hooked. You can see where it only went down to the 60 and then went right back up again. And that's where you got this peak. And then it came back down. Now we're looking at a somewhat of a divergence with this. You see it, here's a low, here's a lower low over here. Here's a low, but here's a higher hit on this. This is up just a little bit, not much. And let's see, this was a test of the 13 coming up. That's right around this area. So we're going to make a note of that. And I'm going to be looking at where the D is coming down, and I'm going to be looking to see about this area right in here. There was some orders that came in right below this. So if it breaks, this would be an area I'd be looking at it to start getting some challenge, some buyers coming in. Now the question is there enough room to take that trade if it goes short before that area? If it broke right here and came on down, there's only 5 pips, not a whole lot. Although the good news is that we're about ready to get the cross of the 1362 right up here. I'll mark that because this is a significant crossover. If it comes back up, we may be able to, but here's where the bottom of the wedge is. If I take this trade short, I'd want to have my stop up above this box right in here. Let me mark this as a, and right now everything is, there's no real confirmation on any of this. So I would say just be patient with this. And you know, we don't have to take every trade that comes, every alert that comes down the pike. Now, if this does break and it can get through this, then this is the next area where it's looking at going. This is where the origin of this big move, this is where it started. So even though this is a little bit of a pause and a retest, you may get a bounce off of this, and let's see if there's a fib line there. Yeah, we've got the blue fib line right below that. So if this does, where's the, that's 5 minute. So we have a red line and a blue line. So this is 21 pips in between here. And right now we're looking at coming down in, into the, well, actually 21 pips from here to here, I believe. And I actually have some room then. Yeah, there's 21 pips. So if it breaks to the downside, we can take this trade. I don't know that this area is going to hold. I would I wouldn't bank on that one. But I do think that the blue line would hold, so I would probably move it down a little bit more, like in this area. Below this red candle, here's a wick. Right, that wick's right on that blue line. I'm just bringing it down just a little bit. Give us a little bit of a range for it. If it breaks, we have our 7 pips down here, so we can maybe squeeze 5 pips out of it. Let's go to our 1 minute chart. Let me see if I have my demo set up here. Yep, that will work. Okay. Remember, here's the top of our wedge. Dollar's starting to get stronger. Let's see how it looks on the other time frames. Yeah, it's still about even. They're right about on top of each other. Dollar stronger on the 1 minute. How's our RSI doing? RSI is all the way up here at the top. Now that we have the wedge drawn on our 5 and 1 minute, I'm going to take it off the 15 so we have a little bit more clarity for price action on that. So I'm going to unsync it and delete it. Unsync it and delete it.
Alan's got a question in the Q&A.
Okay, go ahead.
Just confirming that this is a descending wedge and that the entry is following price action and not wedge direction.
That's correct.
Yeah.
Yeah. When it gives us the alert of ascending or descending, that's where I start my A. I try to start the A there. Sometimes it just picture doesn't work. Most of the time I can start the A. If it's descending, I start the A at the top of the move. And work my way down. And if it's ascending, I look at where the price action is and I start my way at the bottom and work my way up. So but the A always starts at the A for the ascending at the bottom, and then I put the A of my triangle at the top for descending. I keep trying to figure out different ways of explaining that and showing that, and I haven't come up with anything better yet, but that's that's what I've come up with. All right, this one's pretty much being violated, so we're going to take that off. And right now we had a nice. There was a little bit of divergence here. We had a little bit of divergence. See, this would give a rise to move to the upside. Our moving averages are all consolidated. They're crossing over. We had the cross of the 5, but we never. Over here is where we had the. Where's the 62 here? We had a nice little crossover here, but right down below here was where the yellow crossed. Right at this point is all the moving averages first started in the right direction. This was a retest. And from here, this is a low. Here's a low. Here's a lower low, but here's a higher low. This is where the divergence was. And usually when you get the divergence, that's usually going to be moved to the upside. Price came down, but the strength wasn't there. So if this thing breaks to the upside, now we also have this fib line right here. But if you look at the range to the upside, let's see where we're at here. Just trying to break out the top of the move from yesterday. If we go to a higher time frame, let's see. Once it breaks out of the top, which is where our wedge was, where's it going to go? Have a bunch of wicks along in here. probably right about to this point, right in this one, I would expect to bounce. If you have a wick, all these are wicks, wicks, wicks. Come over here before we finally get to the body. So here would be the top. This would be the top of the move. This would be the area that I'd be looking at for it to come into. I want to see a break to the top of this. This was a nice strong move. This came off the divergence that we were talking about. I'm on the 5-minute chart right now. We don't have a close above the top of the wedge. And right now the range inside of this, I have about 30 minutes to go before we end this session here. It's in a 20 pip range. Here's our green fib line right here. It broke, came back. If it comes back down, retests, and we get a hook back on this 60 on this RSI, the blue RSI. If this can come down and a hook, that may be a way to be looking, maybe take this thing long. That would be a more aggressive entry. You still like to wait to see it break the up, because right here, this is yesterday's high and low. On the 5-minute chart, all of our moving averages are in the proper direction. We have the green, yellow, purple. It just came down, retested this green line, and this would be the next stop. Here's, again, this is on the 5-minute chart. These are 21 pips apart. So you're trying to catch the bottom third and then the top 2/3 is what we're really trying to do. But once it breaks the top, it's going to come right up into this. This could be a problem right through here. But if it can break that, then we're up into this zone right up above, which gives us room. We go to our 1-minute chart, see the same scenario. With the 1-minute fib lines on. Here's our green line again. Here, broke the blue line, came back, tested it. This thing does have some punch to the upside. Dollar is stronger, not by a lot.
It's moving pretty slow again today, huh?
Yeah. We had this blue hook coming back out. I'm just gonna play with this one a little bit. I'm gonna play with this in demo. Bye. I just want to see how this thing works out with maybe trying to look at a little bit earlier entries. The reason why I like this was because it came out from the blue area, came back down, retested the blue, got a close above the next spread isn't up until this is just this is like I said, this isn't demo. I'm not taking live money with this because I'm just trying to show how possibly some earlier entries could work. We have all the moving averages are in line. We have the cross of the blue fib line, which is going to be made available hopefully in the next. We're very close to the agreement with that. And if it can break the line, it's going to be break. If it breaks this, it's going to be breaking right at the red fib line. Come back up, break, retest it, and then we'd be looking at this for a target. These next two for the target. I like the idea of taking it long when this thing's down, but when this thing comes down and hooks and then comes back up. This is on the 1 minute. So I'm in this trade on the 5 minute in demo. I want to reiterate that because I'm just looking to see how it's going to react with this. All indications say it's going to break to the top. The only thing they don't like is that on my 5 minute chart, my dollar just got stronger. Well, actually, I do like that because the dollar just got stronger. Dollar flipped. Dollar is the first currency of the pair. If it's stronger, then we're looking to the upside. For 7 pips. For 7 pips, modify it. I like this really strong candle coming up. Had this wick came all the way back down. It closed up here, it came all the way back down, but this RSI still stayed above, but it's still hooking back from the 89 area. Now with this stop, I think I'd probably rather have this stop below this green fib line down around here. And that'd give us a little bit bigger stop than what I would normally like. But I think that's a little bit safer place. Or just maybe a little bit higher here just to keep within our normal range of 10 to 7 to 10 pips. See that our 13 moving average and our 62 moving average on our 5 minute chart, they're only, if you look at the numbers over here, they're only about a pip and a half apart. So they just barely crossed over. They could flip back the other way pretty easily as well. We had the retest of the green. We had the crossover. We had the retest, came back up. Now it looks like it's retesting it again. We also still have the bottom of the fib line, or of the wedge. But here we had the divergence. Here we have an anchor. There you go, make a regular trend line here. Sounds like we just got another alert, maybe? No. Text message.
No alert.
Is that a, oh, that was a stop out probably. Did I get stopped out? Yep, came right down below the green. See, this is one reason why you really want to be careful about taking inside the wedges, because right now it's made a lower, hey, here's a high, here's a low, here's a lower high, here's a higher low. And it's actually forming another, it's just forming its basing inside of this area until it's going to break out. And right now we're still just waiting to see what happens with it. Any other alerts or anything like that? Still US CAD, 845, nothing new. While we're waiting on this, do you want to take a look at the US, the gold?
Sure.
You have a,
Have a look.
so you would keep an eye on, let's see if it breaks out the bottom. I'm going to draw our, and before I do that, let me draw our 2 pip range on the bottom here.
Okay, where is that? Let me mark that down because again, my triangle wedge is slightly different.
Okay.
So
I've got mine set. Yeah, I've got the bottom of mine.
okay.
Oh,
So,
let's see. Yeah, bottom. If it breaks out the bottom, it would be right at 32, 31.6.
32, 31.6. Okay, got it.
And so, and we got 32, 29.3 down here. 29.
29.3.
3 is a 2 pip. That's close enough right there. That's a 2 pip range. Template. We have entry to sell. That's this one. And we have up here. Here's the box. Here's the top of the box. So if it breaks out of that, that's. I said right now it's still within that. It's still going sideways inside. It looks like it's trending and making wedges, but it's still basically it's still going inside this this white box that we have here.
Okay.
It's somewhat. It is somewhat respecting this trend line right here.
All right, I'll keep an eye
Okay.
on that.
Now you keep an eye on that one, and let me go to see if I can find a. US, the gold part, the gold one. For as volatile as gold has been, it may be worth starting to learn how to trade that one, but I'm a little hesitant to do so. I'm not sure what the pip values and all that stuff is. So, and I'm not sure the Fibonacci tools are really going to work on that one either. Change my chart here. Let's see. 1 minute. That one there. Oops, I've got the wrong one. Let's try this one. That's better. And so we have gold, and that was at, we'll do this real quick. We have about 15 more minutes left to go here. That was at 8:15 ascending. I'll put it on a 15-minute chart. 8:15 ascending, which means going from low to high. So again, I'm looking to see pivot high, pivot low. This is since the close of yesterday's close. Had a little higher high, lower low than that. So I'm going to be looking at these two pivots and maybe even coming all the way back to here to draw a, see if I can get a trend line. So it's ascending. So I'm going to start with my A down here, come up to the next pivot, pivot high, come down to a pivot low as tucked in as close as I can. That may make, and I'm going to see if I can get it to where I can get the 3-point hit. So here's an anchor. Here's a hit. It's too much. Let's see if I can bring this one down a little bit. That helps. Bring it down a little bit more. I have 3 points here, so I could probably even tuck this in a little bit more. I want to respect. I want to note this one, but I'll pull back to this one. So here's my anchor. Here's a hit. Here's a hit before the alert. Here's my anchor. Here's a hit. Another hit. A couple of violations here, and see if I can tuck this in a little bit closer and still have. There we go. So here's an anchor. Here's a hit. Hit. A hit. A hit. Now this thing's looking to break the upside is what I would be looking at. I can't use the RCS tool because this is gold. It's not one of the currencies. All we're going to be doing is looking at the price action. I don't think this is going to help us much here. The denominations are so much different because we're starting with, we're talking, almost $2,000 per ounce here. This actually might be kind of fun to see if we, I don't know if I can take it on this or not. See if I can do a buy. Nope, symbol is not tradable on Rwanda, so I can't even take a demo on this. But I would be looking at, we had a little bit of violation here. Here's the alert. Let's see where our moving averages are. That's the best thing we have going for us right now with this. All of our moving averages are consolidating. How's our CAD doing? That's still playing around with our trend line here. And see the back to gold. Let's see, we have let me take this back and see if we have a hit with that. That still works. So this would be this could be right here, and we have a fib line right here at this A. So this is a significant area, right? This area, the 1927, 28 area. So what I would do is I would box this up over here about like this. Find out where the pivot is. Know where pivot low is. Make this a demand zone. And then we have up here, this was the all-time high. No, actually it was higher than that. We got even higher than that. So we have a couple of different levels here. We have a level here, here, but where all these little hits are, those are all levels where price is rejected. If it breaks through the top of the wedge, then it's going to start looking at probably this area ultimately. I don't know how long it would take for it to get up there. It didn't take very long for it to come back down. And so we have, what's the zone here? This is 606. Not sure what the denomination of that is.
Yeah, it's gold is kind of like the yen, I think, with the way that you figure out what's going on with them.
Yeah, and that's something I just haven't taken the time to figure it out exactly what a pip value of gold is. I'd have to probably trade it in a demo on a demo platform to get a feel for what the pip value is for lot size.
Yeah.
But anyway, right now it looks to me like it's trading in between this range. We have wicks here, wicks here. We have lower, here's a high, lower high. Here's a low, higher low, lower high, higher low. And then we have this little break right in through here. And sometimes I think when this thing makes these alerts, I think this is kind of a little bit what it's looking at here. And then if it breaks this part, comes back and retests. Let's just try this.
I think a pip is worth $1, Al,
On a
in gold.
what size lot size? What size lot size?
Well, I'm using my calculator here. So if I put a stop loss of 1 pip, contract size is 100. So what is that? That's a micro, is it not? It's really hard to say. It just says it comes out to be like $1 lot.
Like a 0.01 lot size. Would that be $1?
0.01 lot size. I've got a lot here of 208.000. The risk ratio of 2% is 2. I don't know. It's a little confusing. I've got to work on this a little bit more.
Yeah, we may have to work on that a little bit. Gold money. You can see right now it's coming up. Right now it's sort of breaking this trend line here. Here's where the alert was. It's finally starting to break out to the upside. I followed this green line, came up, and now it's breaking out. Broke it, came back down, tested it, and now it's breaking out. Again, I don't know what a pip value is or what size lot size to what kind of risk level is, so I can't possibly trade it until I get that figured out. I just don't normally trade that one. Let's see how our CAD's doing here.
It's just not doing much of anything. It's
trying to break out on the bottom here.
Yeah.
Here's our 2 pip zone. So right now it's still just hanging in there.
Yeah, it's moving.
It's trading between it's right at the green fib line. Even if you tried to take this thing off this bounce off this trend line, which you have, you don't have any real thing to hang your hat on, other than the fact that you had the trend line there. You still have a 7-pip risk. Your 7 pips will at least get you below the wedge. You see this thing starting to trend up. You can see where this this came up, came back down, made a higher low, and it seems like it's starting to trend a little bit here. This was pretty much a flat line. Again, we just pretty much wait till, generally we just wait till it breaks the wedge, or else you get whipsawed a lot of times. As you saw with my little demonstration there. These are 7 pips apart. The green to the blue to the green, that's 7 pips. So right now it's in a 7-pip range. It came right down halfway below the blue. We have 4 minutes left. Any other questions before we get kicked out of the room? Actually, I think we got kicked out yesterday. I'm not sure if that was by accident or if we missed our time for some reason, but I thought we had till 10:30 or 10:15 yesterday. But somebody apparently just tried to get in the room and they kicked us all out. So I'm still not sure what happened with that.
What time was that at, Al? Sorry?
That was right at 10 o'clock yesterday. We had an alert. We were drawing an alert. The next thing I knew, the room was gone.
Oh, wow. Okay.
It ended kind of abruptly, and that's because I got kicked out, and I'm not sure. I know that there's Auvoria Prime has other sessions that they use these rooms, and so we don't always, if we don't get out in time, then a lot of times it causes problems. So we did, take care of be aware of the time so we get out of the room so someone else can get into it.
Yeah.
But if there are no more questions, this US CAD is, you know the drill. It's if it breaks out the top, wait for the blue candle, wait for a red candle to, and hopefully hang on to the trend line, and then enter the trade, and then your target's gonna be somewhere up in this zone up here. Look for your 7 pips and get out. If you get 5 pips and it starts struggling, take your 5 pips and run. On the bottom, if it comes back in the bottom, you're going to get a close below the wedge with a red candle. A lot of times I see, especially on the 1 minute chart, I like to see 2 red candles followed by a blue candle, maybe to retest the zone, either this red line or the yellow line. Retest the zone and then enter it to go short. And that's the drill. This thing seems to be respecting this trend line here. If it does break out, then I would say that we could use, this is sloping down a little bit, and you have this line and this line to be referencing. And I'd like to thank everybody for being here this morning. I say if you have some, you want to take some screenshots, I'll try and get it set up in the Telegram. I'll try and get I'll find out what my link is to in the Telegram so people can Telegram me directly, and then I can take a look at it and get back with you on that.
Thanks, Al, for a good session. It was slow,
Okay.
but it was
Yeah, well, it's Friday. A lot of people try to get their trades in early and then get off and just take, especially if you made your target for the week, it's not a bad thing to just have a longer weekend and stay away from the charts a little bit. Let your head think about something else, and then just be ready for Monday. So on that note, thanks everybody for coming here, and we'll see you Monday. Again, I'm still going to be remote probably through Wednesday, and then I'll be back home hopefully Wednesday afternoon or evening in time for the 9:30 session. So anyway, we'll look for you Monday, and have a safe weekend, and we'll see you then.
Have a great weekend, everyone.